Hey guys, so I just ended week 3 out of 12 weeks from my leaning out phase. I will continue to open videos with this introduction just so you know that this is an update on my 12 weeks leaning out experiment. Let's put it like this. I did prepare some keynotes so I don't forget what I want to talk about. I have them over on my phone, and I'm gonna try to address these things as concise and quick as I can. I will start with my body weight, which has actually went up from last week, and now I'm officially sitting at the same weight I was at 2 weeks ago. I'm not alarmed by this in any sense, and I really wanted to talk about this thing. Measuring progress based on body weight is a good indicator, but it's not the entire story. And you may have heard this from me before. I do believe that, and it's not just what I believe, it's what works. It's not my religion, it's not my way of believing. It's not a matter of believing or not. Body weight and what the scale says, it's just one part of the story. I do look leaner than last week, and not to mention from 2 weeks ago. So I would attribute this increase in body weight due to water retention, because I can feel it. For example, on my fingers, my rings are very tight right now, and I know this is some kind of water retention that's been bugging me for a few days now, and I attribute this to stress and to poor sleep, because I didn't really had proper 8 hours sleep over the past week. In one of the nights I slept about 5 hours and a half, and that really takes a toll on the body. And you have to take into account that sleep and how your body flushes out water, and how hydrated you are, and how much stress you're applying to the body. All these things are an indicator of how you look, and how you feel. And I've been definitely feeling very slow this week, and sleep is definitely a major part from this feeling, and from my look and my body weight. Another thing that I've experienced before is every time I've entered a fat loss phase, initially there's a slow decrease in body weight, and then there's a slight bump in body weight, and I attribute that to, I even noted this here, nutrient partitioning. In plain English, the body becomes more efficient at delivering nutrients into the muscle tissue where it's most needed, and in organ tissue, and that leaves less room for fat depositing, which is impossible at this point, because I'm in a caloric deficit. But what this does, nutrient partitioning, to put it as simple as I can, you get more cell volume, because you get more nutrient inside the cell, inside the muscle cell. That muscle cell will increase in volume, slight increase, but still it is an increase. And sometimes this shows on the scale as a higher weight than when you first started losing fat. So I'm not alarmed by this in any way, and it is part of the process. I've been through this before. I know that it is completely natural. What wouldn't be okay would be if I kept my deficit and I kept my cardio, and still I would see the scale go up, and I would see the mirror look worse, or the same. And that's not the case, because I can see that I'm leaner, and I'm gonna put some shots on the screen just so you can see better my current progress. I took the shots a bit earlier, and I can definitely see an improvement. I'm just sorry that I didn't get the chance to shoot some clips when I first started 3 weeks ago. It would have been a better comparison, but still, you'll be able to see that my quads look better, my abs look better, my chest, my arms, everything is leaning out nicely, everything is becoming very tight. and I can most surely feel it on my waist, as every pair of legging I have is becoming slightly looser on the waist, and I like that. I'm not complaining. You will continue to see some clips on the screen as I talk, and you can clearly see my body's responding really well, and I'm in that phase where I look lean, but not very lean, and I still have curves and everything, and I like how I look right now, and I wouldn't really, to be honest, I wouldn't change it. I would keep my looks as I am now, but I really want to go through the entire 12 weeks and see how my body changes. And at the end of the 12 weeks, I can draw up some conclusions, and I can see just how my body reacts and what kind of deficit sits well with me after 2 years of not dieting. Now, some cardio changes I've made. I've changed, like I talked about this in my last clip. My left knee is still bugging me, and I'm booking a consultation next week with a doctor. It's just that I can't have an MRI, and I needed MRI in other situations before when I hit my head and with my lower back, and every doctor tells me the same thing. We don't know what it is until we get an MRI scan, and I can't have an MRI scan because of my braces, and it's a bit frustrating. So that's why I've been putting this off, because I really don't want to pay for a consultation and lose the time to go to a clinic and talk with the doctor for a half an hour and hearing the same answer, like, I don't know what it is until you get an MRI scan, which is not very helpful. But I will take a leap of faith and go to see a doctor. Maybe he can touch my knee, he can play with it, and he can give me his opinion, his professional opinion on what it could be. At least give me a direction to see where I can take this thing. And I've been reading about it online, but that's not very helpful, and I definitely don't recommend reading online on when something hurts. You're always gonna find out that you're probably dying or something very, very, very bad and unrecoverable happening to you. So I'll keep you posted. But because of this knee, I've decided to switch up my cardio routine. I still have 40 minutes of cardio each session for 3 days a week, but I've kept elliptical for 30 minutes instead of 20. So that's more elliptical. And another 10 minutes, I have a stationary bike, which will probably be a light bike cycling or some interval cycling, but it really depends on how I feel. For example, this past week, I've done a bike on Monday and Wednesday, and then yesterday on Friday, I did this rogue bike, very high intensity intervals on it. I felt like I was gonna puke on it. Very, very intense, and I loved it. And my knee felt fine because you don't really have a lot of stress on your knee. You just have a lot of stress on every muscle in your body. It hurts so much. But it is that's how it is now. 30 minutes elliptical and 10 minutes bike, some kind of cycling. That feels better for my knee than incline walking, as incline walking puts some stress that I don't really like right now. My knee feels really weird every time I climb stairs, or I descend stairs, or I incline downhill, which is very frustrating because it's a mountain city and everywhere I want to go it's uphill or downhill. So I've kind of been avoiding walking a lot. Still on cardio. I might at some point, maybe in 4 weeks from now, or we'll see, 2 weeks. It depends on the weather and how my knee feels. I would switch up my cardio routine and take it out from the gym and just walk, maybe 40 minutes to an hour of walking outside in nature if the weather gets slightly warmer, so I can feel okay with my knee. Because if it's too cold, no matter how many layers I put on me, it still hurts. It gets really stiff, like it has a cast around it. So I'm still waiting for the weather to warm up a bit. So walking is my favorite form of cardio usually, but I wasn't able to do it because it's been really cold outside, and my knees and my joints overall don't like cold, especially this mountain kind of cold, which is different. Somehow it hurts everything. I don't want to sound like everything is aching, but I can definitely sense a difference from the plains, from Bucharest weather, from where winter is. Even if it's cold, it doesn't really hurt your joints, And this mountain weather where it's, I don't know, it's the altitude, it's the air pressure, it just hurts my joints. Now, diet changes. I've taken out peanut butter from non-cardio days. So that's 1 teaspoon, around 20 grams of peanut butter for, let's see, it's Tuesday, Thursday, Saturdays, and Sundays. So 4 days a week, I didn't have peanut butter for this past week, and I will keep it up. I feel fine. It felt uncomfortable the first time I took it out because I was used to putting a teaspoon of peanut butter on my protein pancake, which is my post-workout meal. But I said, why not? Let's try it. I felt fine. I decided to do this because my hunger has been pretty calm, pretty comfortable, and it got to that point where it felt just too comfortable, and I felt this was needed, and that's it. That's all it is. Now, as we are on the diet subject, today, I want to say tonight, today I'm carving up with a burger and French fries. I was gonna do my rice pasta with beef and with tomato sauce, which I love so much. And it was difficult to decide, but last week's carb up wasn't enough. I didn't feel like it was enough. I was on Monday when I started my week, I still felt flat. I didn't have a nice pump in the gym. I felt tired after Sunday, which was a complete rest day, and I'm just gonna try this out with a burger and French fries, which is definitely gonna be more carbs, more fats than my carb up meal. And if it all goes well, I'm gonna switch things up a bit and maybe still use my rice pasta with tomato sauce, but add more carbs throughout the day when I'm carbing up on Saturdays, obviously. Okay, and we still have to talk about supplements. With a big disclaimer, supplements come with a big disclaimer, so here it is. Supplements don't work unless you do. You maybe have heard this before, but if you don't keep your diet in check, and if you don't do your cardio, and if you don't lift as heavy and intense and with proper form as you humanely possible can, any supplement will do shit for you. And that is true no matter what your goal is, whether it's fat loss, or whether you want to build some size, or you want to get stronger and lift heavier in the gym, or run faster, whatever the reason, whatever your journey is. I've seen people who are taking supplements or who have taken supplements and expecting a miracle, expecting to grow or expecting to get lean, but not really knowing how much they eat or how much they should eat, or not really knowing how to properly train. So supplements come with this huge disclaimer. They don't work. They are just an added boost to what you are already doing. So I really hope you keep this in mind as I list what I'm taking right now. I will start with what I'm usually taking, like throughout the year, 12 months a year, like 365 days a year. This is what I'm taking. And that is selenium, antioxidants like superoxide dismutase and cysteine. And I'm taking these for my Hashimoto. It's an autoimmune thyroid disease, which is best described as an autoimmune disorder that is located in the thyroid. That is the best way to look at it. And antioxidants and selenium, I think it's pronounced selenium, I'm not sure. These are incredibly helpful with any kind of autoimmune disease, because they go into that area where you have an autoimmune disorder, and that causes inflammation in the body. You can best see an autoimmune disease as an inflammatory process located somewhere in the body. And inflammation produces free radicals, and those free radicals can create a lot of problems in the body, can cause a lot of other diseases. So what antioxidants do, they go and they bind these free radicals and they take them out, they flush them out from the body. So I'm taking these throughout the entire year. Another good supplement I'm taking that helps with my Hashimoto, but it helps with everything else, is vitamin D3. I take this throughout the year. I used to take more during the winter months, but I didn't really feel any difference, so I just keep a consistent dose throughout the year, 5,000 UIs every day. I also take a probiotic, which is the foundation of everything else. I didn't have a probiotic for a few months because I couldn't find it in the country, in Romania anymore. I had to order it from UK, and during that time I became anemic. I lost iron, or better said, I didn't absorb iron from the food I ate. So a probiotic really helps me have everything in check, and it really helps me absorb the nutrients, both macro and micronutrients. So it is always present in my supplement stack. I take vitamin C 1 gram each day, every single day. I take ZMA, it's a combination of zinc, magnesium, and B6. And I take this before bed. It really helps me rest well, and it helps with the nervous system recovery. All this training puts a stress not just on the muscles and the joints, but also on the nervous system. So I take this throughout the year, all the time. What else? I take electrolytes. Insert what was that movie? Idiocracy. Insert electrolyte catchphrase.
It's got electrolytes.
I take electrolytes every evening in pill form. I like them best that way. Omega-3, 2 grams a day, each day. And the and the liver protector. Now, these I take year-round, what I just said. What I now take for a time being is an iron supplement because I am anemic. Okay, and I take my T4 medication for my Hashimoto disease, which is not really a supplement, it's a medication, but I feel like I have to include this one here. Medication is not something you have to rely on. You don't really have to take if you have Hashimoto. As long as your thyroid is in normal levels, you can get by with something like this. But after my last show in November, my thyroid didn't really recover, and I started having massive hair loss and panic attacks and a lot of things, and palpitations and blood sugar fluctuations, and I didn't really know how to pinpoint these, like how I didn't really have an explanation because I was eating well, and when I checked my hormone levels, my thyroid was like an 80-year-old woman's thyroid, it wasn't really working. This was in March, so this was actually about 4 or 5 months after my show. It's natural to have wacky thyroid levels after a show, right after a show, but it's not normal to have them wacky and all over the place, and to have bad hormone levels 4, 5, 6 months out after a show. It's just not normal. There's something going on there, Other blood tests and echos can confirm that my Hashimoto was active, was in full force, so I needed medication, and I started taking this medication 2 years ago exactly to this date, and I've been feeling like a different person since. Like my hair recovered. I didn't have major panic attacks like before. It really changed my life, and I will continue to take it probably for the rest of my life. We will enter into the what supplements I'm taking now in this fat loss phase, and these have just added, so these are fresh. I added them this week, actually, this past week. I'm taking Animal Stack, which is a pro-hormone supplement. It's not hormonal. You don't take hormones, but it definitely promotes natural production of your hormones, which works really well for me. I've taken Animal Stack throughout these 2 years on and off base, cycling it, and it's working really, really well. Whoever thinks that Animal Stack is a men's supplement is wrong. Animal Stack is a great supplement for women. It has a lot of herbal extracts that really promote a natural testosterone production and a natural balance of estrogen in the body, which is great. It's what we want as female athletes. It's what I want. It has many things, but the mix of tribulus, fenugreek, stinging nettle root, and maca root extract are really helpful in producing endogenous testosterone. So it works really well. Now, I'm taking CLA 2 grams each day for this fat loss phase. For those of you who don't know, CLA, or conjugated linoleic acid, takes very, very old fat storage. Those fat storage that the body just doesn't want to use, it wants to keep them there. It takes them and it turns them into a kind of fat that is more primed to be burned, to be used as fuel. So that's what it does. But it only does this, going back to our disclaimer, if you do everything else right. Like if you have a caloric deficit and you do your cardio, you do everything else right. I've also added alpha-lipoic acid, which is also an antioxidant. I wanted to take this for a long time, like on a long-term basis, but it's pretty expensive. I've been shying away from adding more supplements to my permanent supplement stack. But this really helps when you do a fat loss phase, because many people don't know, or maybe don't look at things this way. When you are in a fat loss phase, your body is in a stress phase. It's stressful to lose fat. It's not natural to lose fat. Every evolutionary stage in our human construction has made us highly efficient to fat storage and highly resistant to fat loss, so we could survive, So fat loss is the stress for the body. It raises cortisol levels, it raises heart rate, resting heart rate. It does a lot of things to the body that could turn into a problem and could release free radicals. So antioxidants are always a good idea to resort to when you are in a fat loss phase. What else? Well, this is actually it's a permanent thing in my supplement stack, but I just added it at the end here. BCAAs and creatine. I use this during workout. It's my intra workout with water. I take BCAAs as an insurance, just so my body doesn't use other sources of protein when I train, during training. If you don't have enough protein at some point during the day, your body is going to use protein from the muscle. And I've seen a lot of girls training hard and actually using their muscle mass when they train. You don't want that. I surely don't want that. So BCAAs are kind of an insurance to have when you train hard. Also, creatine helps increase water inside the muscle cell, which makes the muscle cell have more volume, have more resistance to fatigue, have more strength, and it does the same thing to nervous cells, which is amazing. Creatine is not just a muscle building supplement or a fat loss supplement, it's a nootropic, which makes it a perfect supplement for anybody doing any kind of effort, whether it's physical or mental. That's how it is for me. Well, it's not just a belief thing. It's, there are studies that show what works and what not. And that's it. That's kind of it. Now, I'm very excited for next week. Let's see how my burger carb up goes on. I hope you found this interesting. I've taken almost half an hour shooting this. It said I'll be quick. This is my notion of quick and fast. Anyway, thanks for watching this, and as always, if you have any kinds of questions, whether about fat loss or fitness in general or supplements, you can always drop them down below. Thanks.